Well, Beverly, first of all, it's amazing to speak to you today. Not a bad location to have a chat.
If we're going to chat, this is where we should chat.
Before we get started, though, I'd love to learn more about your role. And
Sure. So, Beverly Jackson, I'm the Vice President of Brand, Product, and Integrated Marketing for Zillow Group. And I lead about 150 amazing, incredible marketers across our 5 lines of business, representing rentals, buyers, sellers, and our real estate professionals or agent business. And it's fun. So I've been at Zillow about 3 years now.
Okay.
This is my 3rd time here at Cannes representing Zillow. And I'm excited to be here as always. This is such a great brand to represent here at Zillow. So I have to represent here. Zillow is such a great brand to represent here at Cannes. So
yeah,
it's fun.
Amazing. Thank you. So you've been at Zillow for 3 years now. You have a very extensive, diverse background. We talked a little bit before. I think I might be answering your question for you, but what kind of drew you to Zillow and the opportunity there?
Sure. As I said to you earlier, one of the things that I've had for the last 25, 30 years, I've had an opportunity to have a career and be in the front line of like media transformation, consumer tech transformation, like whether I was working at Tribune Interactive and transforming from sort of like a analog print world to a digital world, to working in hospitality, where we went from like really innovating how people check into hotels, how people engage in gaming, working at Twitter, 3X, and just being able to take that brand all around the world and like open up Ghana and Nigeria for Twitter. Super exciting. I found the opportunity at Zillow to be so incredibly connected to who I am as a person. So at my heart, I'm a servant-based leader, and I love working with things that deliver purpose. And so I love the idea of transformation and change, and I love consumer tech. But at the end of the day, if you can marry that with something that speaks to your heart and purpose, it's amazing. Someone once said to me, Zillow is the most important brand to shelter in the history of the world. And I thought, whoa, that's amazing. And so our brand purpose is to help more and more people get home and to make home a reality for more and more people. And so when you think about that, the opportunity at Zillow was just, I couldn't pass it up. Like I couldn't walk away. Like at this point in time in history, it's just an amazing place to be.
Yeah, no, I think it takes a certain person, a certain skill set to really lean into transformation. So congrats to that.
I think that might.
But also to your point, the blend of purpose too, that's you know where you want to lean into, and you've been able to do that at Zillow. So that's great.
It's interesting, right? Because this is such an interesting moment in time for us all in like marketing and advertising and content, right? There's so much velocity of change, and so to me, it's like taking a body blow if you were a boxer. Not that I've ever been a boxer, but I don't think you're supposed to tense up. I think you're supposed to like lean into it, right? And so the idea is that you go with change. Change is fluid. And if you can move with change and you can move with the momentum of where your industry is going, I think you're much better off and you're going to be much better suited to be able to win at this.
Okay. And like when it comes to transforming and evolving Zillow from a brand, what would you say is, I guess I'll just go to the hot topic of the last few years, AI. So is that kind of like the leading kind of contributor to your transformation, or is it, I guess, where does that fit in the grand scheme of things?
So Zillow has always been one of those brands. First of all, Zillow will be 20 years old next year, right? Which is hard to believe.
That's actually kind of shocking.
Amazing, right? And there are very few brands that have sort of been in the space doing the work that Zillow's been doing for this amount of time. But when I think about transformation at Zillow, it's a beloved brand, right? It has like 90% unaided awareness, like recall. People trust the brand from a consumer perspective. People know and love Zillow. It's very difficult to go to any cocktail party without somebody saying, I love Zillow, I'm on Zillow all the time. I jokingly say to people, because they always say, we need to be able to comment on Zillow. We want it to become the next social network. I'm like, that's not a good idea. No.
There's enough social networks out there.
We got enough social networks. But I think the other opportunity, to be very honest with you, is that like AI is changing the way we lead, the way we create content, the way we build products, and the way we get those products to actual to consumers.
Yep.
And so when I think about our mission to build a housing super app or to create a fully integrated experience for all buyers, the reality is that AI plays a big part in that for all of us. So first of all, from the top down, everyone at Zillow uses AI in terms of productivity for their jobs, right? We're thinking about ways to just make our jobs easier and faster and better and improve quality and craft, right? And so because we're a distributed workforce, which means we're cloud HQ, so people work from all over, we really need the value of AI to sort of help keep us connected and help keep us on task. So there's that. And then how AI plays into the products. Imagine what our products can do. If you're touring a house and you're looking at a neighborhood and you're considering moving and the power of what AI can bring to that experience for you. We're thinking about that from a product perspective. Now think about the speed at which we need to create content in order to bring consumers to the space and the power of what AI can do to that. And so we are taking things like we have a podcast and we take that podcast, we ingest it into an AI tool that we're working with, and we actually create derivative pieces of content for other platforms, knowing what's optimized to work on those platforms.
Smart.
So that's another way. We use Writer and Jasper and other tools like Google. We have partnered deeply with Google and some others to actually make sure that the media that we buy is optimized, the content that we're creating is optimized. And so that's another way. And then I think finally, our other part of our business, which is the B2B part of our business, where we support real estate professionals and their productivity, using AI to incorporate that into their work streams and the tools that we offer to them and that we sell to them. And the reality is, we say it all the time, we do tech, so you can do real estate. And so from every part of the marketplace, that is how we're using AI to sort of advance our business and leaning headfirst into the transformation of what's happening.
Yeah, and I think you're kind of getting to the next thing I was wanted to hear about, which is, to your point before, a lot of people know Zillow and they go there to discover, get inspiration, and try to imagine themselves in this new world, this new home. But how? And this is probably part of the transformation aspect. How do we from a marketing standpoint make it more of a full funnel kind of journey down to consideration and other actions down the line?
So I think one of the things that's happening in our business specifically as Zillow, is that we're thinking more and more about like what all happens at the top of the funnel. Is great, right? We've all this unaided awareness, lots of like just people brand awareness, brand trust, brand awareness. We're the dream team when it comes to that. Other brands wish they had what we have at that space, right? But for millennials who are trying to buy a home, it's hard. The macroeconomics right now are very challenging to the first-time home buyer. And so how do we create experiences on the platform that make it easier for you to be able to do that? And so that's literally what we're thinking about, is like going down that funnel to consideration and then going further down that funnel actually to help you actually transact. And it's like, what tools, what resources, what do we have there? And so a lot more product advertising as opposed to sort of the brand top of funnel advertising. But recognizing to take a moment to do 2 or 3 things. One of them is when someone actually tries to figure out the process, we ought to lead with empathy. So a lot of our messaging is about empathy, meeting the consumer where they are. The second part of it is really sort of when you do it, it's hard. I think our chief design officer says 50% of the people that buy a house for the first time cry. I don't think we want people crying. It's tough though, right?
Tears of joy though.
Tears of joy. And so we celebrate those. And so one of the things that we do is we look for ways to celebrate. And so when a homeowner finds a way to do it, to actually win at it, to make it work, to like get through with all the Zillow tools like Zillow Home Loan and finding a great agent on Zillow and finding their dream house on Zillow and getting further from just the top of the funnel down to the bottom and transacting, we want to celebrate those folks. So we recently did a content series where we brought in T-Pain with a house plant to celebrate a young couple that found their dream house in Austin, Texas. We are following Aaliyah Boston and her journey from the Indiana Fever to actually buying her first home in Charlotte. And so we were able to help her with that process of doing her first home at the end of last year. You can follow that journey on Instagram right now. So we find ways to tell those stories.
Yeah, because we talk so much about the value of Zillow from a tech platform standpoint. There's a big opportunity in terms of capturing consumer data points and stuff. But tears of joy, right? So how we need to do storytelling. We need to connect people in a real way. So I think those are two real good examples of how you're doing that.
But I think you make this really good point, right? It's like, what's the insights? We have a lot of data. We have a lot of first-party data because we're very lucky, right? And so people trust us and they're willing to share information. So we have a lot of first-party data. What do we do from a research perspective to understand what the insights are so that we're building products that actually are the products that solve problems people actually have? And that's the thing where I'm focused on right now. And AI can help us with that. But just being a good brand steward, and you know that story. It's like marketing and good advertising is part science, part art. And let's not forget the humanity of it as well.
Yes, absolutely. So I guess just kind of like wrap us up or close us out. What is what's that big thing that you're thinking of that you want to maybe not solve this year, but you know, as you kind of the near term kind of future and vision for Zillow?
So for me at Zillow right now, the thing that I'm really focused on is how do I drive that flywheel? So we have a two-sided marketplace. We have a full third business. And so our business follows you from being a renter to being your first-time home buyer, to being a seller, and then also supporting advertisers for agents and real estate professionals. So I'm really thinking about what drives and accelerates that B2C to B flywheel, and what does the same on the B2B to flywheel. So with advertising, with realtors, we share that customer. And so how do we all position ourselves to empower the consumer? And so for me, what drives that flywheel across and I think content is one of them, AI is another one, but that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah, it's like really feeding that ecosystem to drive outcomes across all those different facets. So.
And focusing on things that drive impact, that drive real impact, that are based in real insight, that are based on data, but that speak to the human condition and that tell great stories to consumers that resonate. And so for me, that's what I'm looking for this year.
Well, Beverley, it's been amazing to talk to you. Some great insights and so lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much, Nate. This is amazing. Let's do this again next year.
Yes, I love it. Let's do it.